Welcome to IAVM Region 4 Virtual Conference, New Technology Session. I'm your host, Brian Davern with Tacoma Venues and Events. Today on the panel, we are joined by Philip Hastings, Vice President of Event Experiences for the Warriors at Chase Center. Evelyn Ingram, Vice President of Sales at Event Booking. Their product is Venue Ups. Zach Hensley, Vice President of Operations and General Manager of Lumen Field. Claire Ladner, Guest Experience Coordinator at Tacoma Venues and Events. Matt Meyer, Director of Entertainment at Spokane Arena and First Interstate Center for the Arts. Thank you all for joining us on the panel today. So 2020 and 2021 has been an interesting year. If you are not aware, the COVID-19 pandemic shut down all of our venues and made us reevaluate how to allocate venue funds for improvement and safety. Due to capital project reserves, CARES funding, and maybe new SVOG grants in the works, many of us have made improvements to our building. Can you tell us what has happened in the year at your venue as it relates to new technology improvements? Maybe we'll start with Zach.
Sure, thanks, Brian. Appreciate the opportunity to serve on this panel with another great group of panelists. So 2020 has been a very interesting year for us. We transformed actually 7-figure CapEx projects that were going to be for modernization and shifted those to COVID related protocols and procedures with as it relates to technology. We were preparing for the Seahawks season starting in last June into there. Unfortunately, we had a whole NFL season without fans. Luckily, we were able to have our first event in 13 months just on Friday, April 16th for the Sounders FC regular season home opener, where we got to test all of our new technologies. And a lot of those, we really started taking a look at the ingress all the way through the entire guest experience into the venue. So some of our upgrades included magnetometer upgrades. So now people do not have to divest things out of their pockets. They can just walk through magnetometers. Certainly sped up the process incredibly in our home opener on the 16th. And really touchless systems overall is really our focus to help mitigate the actual personal interaction of guests to staff. As we did that one, we invested into ticket pedestal scanners into there. So all of our gates the guests that come in and enter will actually take care of their own scanning instead of the handheld scanners that's been in the past at Lumen Field and such. We went completely cashless back in February of 2020 prior to the pandemic, but certainly that is a technology that has been advanced through several different venues and arenas and stadiums throughout the year as well. Our point of sale we've upgraded. So all of our point of sale are currently operating under self-ordering kiosk as opposed to the traditional transaction with the cashier taking the order from the actual guest. And each one of those systems, both retail and food and beverage, take contactless payment. So every single point of sale, both like I said, and parking. So parking, retail, and food and beverage are all touchless experience with contactless payment into there. And then, our restrooms, we went to all touchless fixtures into there. Obviously, Philip probably down at Chase Center has already done that since they're a newer venue. Our building is, 20 years old. So those are some investments into there. What the pandemic did for us, and my colleague Matt Meyer mentioned this before, is this really put things into hyperdrive for venues, right? So there was a roadmap from 3 to 5 years that everybody was thinking about investing into there, but the pandemic really forced us to make those decisions in short time in order to get this experience and help mitigate the exposure of the pandemic to our guests, our teammates and our players as well. So yeah, at Lumen Field, we did an incredible amount of technology advancements into there. We look forward to continuing to use those and just help with that touchless experience for our guests.
Sounds like a lot's been going on at Lumen Field. Philip, what's been going on at Chase Center with the Warriors?
Yeah, Zach, it's very interesting how you pointed out that us being a new venue should have as many contactless experiences as was built in the first year, but funny enough, not as many as you would have thought. And over the past year, since we have not had fans, in fact, actually this Friday will be our first event, our first game. It will be 407 days since the last time we had guests at Chase Center. So we're excited about that. But through this time, we have done quite a bit of things to create more of that contactless experience. Mobile ticketing is now 100%. where it wasn't 100% before. You had the options of paper tickets. It is now 100%. We're okay with that because last year, over 70% of our ticket holders that entered the venue used mobile options for that ticket. So we're excited for that. Contactless payment, looking to go, we went from 10 mobile ordering concession stands to 28 this off season. So we're ready to up that. And of course, there is the contactless payment options there, whether it's the tap and go credit cards or paying by the app. We've added cash to card kiosks. While we're not 100% cashless, we are promoting heavily the contactless payment option. So we do have the cash to card kiosks. We'll have about 5 of those throughout the arena. They are Visa cards, so it's really great. If you pull one out, you can always add money to it, or if we walk away from the venue, you can use it anywhere Visa is accepted. So really, really great. One cool factor or piece that we've done from a technology standpoint that I haven't seen much, and for those of you who watched the NBA in the bubble last summer, when they were down in Orlando, we created something we're calling the Dub Hub that's based off of what the NBA used. And it was the video screens where you can see the individual fans behind the benches. We've been utilizing that all year, and we're actually going to stay doing that even when we get guests back in the building. But it's a really, really cool experience where you get to go to the game without having to go to the game. We have about 120 participants at a game, 60 at a time. They rotate through where they get to see their faces on the video board, and there's a host and some special guests, some alumni, some former players who will pop in, some local artists at times. It's a great opportunity for fans to really feel like they're at the game when not being there. We'll have some contests. We'll have a fan of the game where they'll win an autographed item at the end of each game. And it is really, really cool. And then obviously on the sales side, we've been able to integrate sponsorship opportunities there for our corporate partnerships. So some really, really great things from a fan facing standpoint that we've planned and looking to really implement starting this Friday.
That's really awesome. So that's called the Dub Hub. That's cool. I'll have to check that out. Matt, what's going on at Spokane?
Hey, Ryan. Well, like Zach, we've upgraded our POS system throughout the arena and convention center and our theater. To be pretty honest, as we've talked before, and COVID has really pushed society to move forward pretty quickly. We've kind of used this to upgrade a lot of different technologies within our building, and the POS system was one of the major factors of this. We're going cashless. Before, I don't think Spokane would have been able to push forward and do this, but knowing that it's not just the arena, but it's Target, it's Walmart, it's every other facility pretty much in town that's been moving this direction, and all the mobile apps and everything that are out there. I think we're in a really good position to be able to move forward this way. So that's one of our biggest upgrades that we've done, which includes like the suite integration and the mobile ordering and ordering kiosks. The other is ticketing turnstiles and pedestals throughout our buildings. The turnstiles will be up at the arena. The pedestals will be down at the theater and our convention centers, knowing that we're able to move them from venue to venue at that point. Going completely digital on the mobile side of things for ticketing. And I say digital because in my demo over here, we have a lot of farmers and construction workers, and flip phones exist because of those people. So going digital means email tickets as well. So that's how we're going to be able to implement that. We've upgraded all of our handrails on our escalators to UV handrail sanitization method. And then we included a bipolarization upgrade in our HVAC system to help clean and sort out all the micro particles in the air through the HVAC system and all of our filters. But with all of this, and as I mentioned, with Spokane being able to utilize COVID as the reason to start moving forward with a lot of our technology advances. Because of that, we also knew that since this is such a huge step forward, we're also implementing a massive marketing campaign to help educate everybody on how the fan experience is going to change once they get into the building too.
Awesome. Well, it sounds like a lot of people are going cashless, so we'll talk about that here in a little bit. Claire, what's going on at Tacoma?
Yeah, so we're doing a lot of what the other venues have already mentioned. We've gone cashless. We've added UV light sanitation. We have some kind of portable units for our smaller artist areas. We already had the ability to evacuate all of the air in those areas and refill it pretty quickly because that was an update we added in the last couple of years. We've also moved to ticket pedestals. We'd already moved to almost all digital ticketing prior to help with fraud and reprinting PDFs, but we've been able to really add to that by adding the pedestals and things like that to enhance the touchless experience. All of our POS have been updated to include, we're going cashless, so the touchless payments and debit cards. And we've also added, like Phil mentioned, the cash to card machines that people can use visas in and out of the building. Two other things that we're really excited about, we added screens in both buildings, our convention center and our arena, that can have the messaging on them updated almost instantly. If we need to let guests know different messages, we can change it. We can let them know which room their conference is in, things like that. And so we're pretty excited about that. And then we've also added a new online training platform called Brainshark to push out trainings to all of our particular part-time staff, but it's been really, really helpful with everybody working from home to be able to send out different trainings that they can watch at their own time. We found that it really helps with the equity for our part-time staff with Airmark and Allied, that those staff members can watch it from home on their tablet, their phone, whatever. They don't need to come in to do a big group training anymore. They can make it work with their schedules, which is really great. And we're also looking at using that tool to push messaging out to guests, clients, things like that. We can give a little tour of our overlook suite in the arena in the Tacoma Dome, and guests can watch that at home. And our operations crew is looking to use it to add standard operating procedures to it so that their staff can watch it out in the field. If they need to remember, how do we organize this closet? Here's a little quick video on it here, so that all the staff has the same background information to work from. So we're really excited about those.
That sounds great. I mean, everybody's using something new and everybody's using something the same. We all have POS upgrades. We have cashless, reverse ATMs. It sounds like everybody's kind of doing the same thing and then going off and making themselves a little individualized. So that's great. Something I know we also did at Tacoma during the pandemic is we upgraded our event management software to Venue Ops. And luckily we have Evelyn on the call. So Evelyn, what trends from a vendor standpoint have you experienced in the last year during this pandemic, and what can you share with us?
Well, much like the venues have been looking at their technology from the fan experience and welcoming the fans back into the building, venues have also been reassessing their workflows, what they've been doing, how they do it, the systems that are in use. As we all know, there's been, tremendous amount of furloughs. We have a lot of folks that have left the building that may never come back again. And so there's business intelligence that has gone with them. And so we've got folks that have gone from a team of 25 down to 7 and are wearing different hats that they've never had to wear before. And so they've been looking for systems that can support with a standardized workflow that are going to be, easy to learn, mobile accessible, support the remote work experience, and provide the footing and the groundwork for when their teams do come back or when they have to train new staff in order to support the events as they, when they do return. They're recognizing that during this lull, as unfortunate as it is, it gives an opportunity for some internal rebuilding, restructuring, analysis, and putting systems and processes in place that are going to help with measurement over time. Business is going to return. At first, we're going to be happy for whatever goes through the doors, but at some point we have to be able to assess the best piece of business so that there can be a financial recovery as well. And so that's what we've been seeing, is that there's the continual pressing forward that may not have happened in the same timing had it not been for COVID.
Yeah, I definitely agree. I know many of us have had to furlough staff, and at Tacoma, it's been nice having all the venues on one calendar so we can see what's going on across buildings. And then also the integrations with Venue Ops with the Ping HD video boards and calendars feeding online. And it seems like we've streamlined a lot of operations there. So we want to thank Venue Ops for that for sure, and our continued partnership going forward. Brings up an interesting point on that everyone brought up, that most of us have had to furlough staff. Is there any other technology that the panel's used, other than, we all know everybody's on Zoom, but anything else you guys have used from a new technology standpoint to cross-train or help people out?
I'll jump in. Just one piece that we're working on. We haven't firmed up the order yet, but we're planning on getting an AI system. Satisfy is who we're looking at, and it's a great piece. I mean, selfishly, I look at it from a guest experience piece because it can answer all the questions that people ask, and it continues to grow as you learn what questions are being asked. You can add the answers into that. So when guests come back, and actually, let me take a step back. If the answer isn't there, you can speak to a live rep if it's during work hours. But as these questions are getting asked and we find out which ones those are, and we didn't have the answers prior to, we can then turn around and add those into the system database. But it's also a great aspect for sales to use to prospect on ticket sales. And then we're seeing a lot of teams that have jumped into this really find an area for corporate partnerships to find sponsor usage out of this. So really, it's a global piece for the whole organization and building that we're looking forward to jumping on board with.
That's pretty intense. We're going AI. That's awesome. What other technology would the panel consider standing out from the crowd right now? We talked a lot about cashless in the opening. What's on the horizon? We have AI at the Warriors. Anything else?
I'll talk a little bit about our suite service. It's a little bit different into there. So, as we've talked about, trying to mitigate the personal interaction of guests to staff as much as possible. We actually use a QR code now to do our suite ordering for game days as well. So it gives an opportunity for the actual suite holder themselves to log into their account, as opposed to, giving the actual game day order to the actual staff itself. And it's really worked out great. It has an opportunity to provide quicker service, as well as the venue an opportunity for those who want to continue to, focus on labor costs and cost mitigation processes. Really gives us a good one. So it's really worked well. It's through our mobile app as well. And so we partner with YinzCam into there with their solution. Also doing the mobile ordering when Seahawks season comes around, very similar to what, Philip said. I think that as we look at, mobile ordering has been part of the hospitality and sports and entertainment for, 10 plus years, but adoption rate has been 1.5%. Sometimes you hear 3%. But to hear the staggering numbers from our other NFL partners, very similar to what, Philip said, the number of stands, I mean, it's going to continue to increase. Express pickup is another one that I think venues will be able to leverage. I think when you think about it, the challenge, I know this is a technology session, but it's the infrastructure of the building. Can it handle that demand? And I think as operators, we would have to think about technology and how we're able to get our teams prepared for that demand, and through technology, be able to control when you're able to turn that off because you're not able to meet demand. We all have very small windows, whether it's an intermission at Matt's venue for a concert, or it's halftime, an NBA or NFL or Sounders match. It's just a lot of things I think as operators we're going to have to consider moving forward in the technology process.
So we have suite integration, we have AIs. Anybody else doing anything else?
Yeah, at our theater, what we're going to start putting in is some liquor lockers. So where you take the mobile app, you order it, and for intermission, because we only have 10 to 20 minutes, sometimes 15 on average, to run through everybody at the concession stands. It's a limited amount of time. Everyone's hitting it all at once. These liquor lockers are nice, so you can pre-order your order. We put it in the locker, you get a code, you go up, punch the code into the locker, the door opens, and you grab your drinks and your concessions and you walk away at that point. So we're hoping that helps speed up the lines, helps get us a few more, raise our per caps a little bit. But yeah, it's something we're looking forward to there. And then I can just echo pretty much a lot of the stuff that Zach was just touching on the POS with the mobile ordering and the QR codes. We're looking to do the same thing and looking into that technology that comes along with our POS system on how we can take advantage of that.
That is the first time I've heard about this new locker technology. I am excited. That will be fun. Need one of those for sure. since I know a little bit about Tacoma, Claire, what's going on with the clear bag policy? Has that changed anything with upgrades to our building?
Yeah, we take a lot of cues from, Lumen Fields just a little bit farther up north. And because they've got a crowd that comes back, season ticket holders, things like that, we take a lot of cues from them, that the crowds that have gone there kind of have the idea of clear bags and touchless ticket kiosks, things like that. We've moved to a totally clear bag policy and added some lockers. We're using Binbox because they've gotten an app that you can use a mobile phone to check in and get your things after a show. So that kind of cuts down on our personnel costs for those, so that folks who show up and aren't aware of the clear bag policy, which we're definitely anticipating, they can go ahead and use the lockers. They're fairly low cost. And we're actually looking to use our training platform to send out some of that messaging too, because our guests visit maybe once a year, maybe twice a year if we're lucky for concerts, things like that. Since we don't have season ticket holders for anything, we're able to make pretty low cost videos and change them pretty quickly using Brainshark and then send them out. So we're hoping that'll help with messaging too.
Awesome. We have liquor boxes, we have bin boxes for other backpacks and things. What about parking lot? Are we doing anything in the parking lots to can they pre-order parking spots or use mobile when they get to the venue? Anybody doing anything?
Yeah, we actually are at Lumen Field, so we're partnering with our ticket partner to do some pre-ordering. We have a variety of events. We have an event center that's attached to our stadium, also converts into a theater as well. So really working through our ticket partner to try to get that pre-order of parking is something we're going to be working through. And then we said we have the touchless experience into there, so just really speeds up process and transaction time. I mean, nobody wants to wait in line to try to get into a garage, either ingress or egress. So really taking a look and trying to look at the functionality of different technologies to enhance the experience, but also just to make the processes easier for our teammates.
And who is the ticket partner at Lumen Field?
We're Ticketmaster through the entire venue, excluding some of our consumer shows.
Awesome. Philip, are you guys doing anything with parking down at Chase Center?
We're in the process of trying to really figure that out as we're hosting on Friday. So more to come there.
There you go. Well, your partners at Lumen Field seem like they have it figured out, so they can probably lend a hand.
For sure.
With all this new technology and business performance and everything, I'm sure we're going to get data. So how has the new technology helped with business performance or KPIs, or I understand that many of us are just opening doors for the first time, so we know how it's supposed to look on paper, but how are you guys going to start using all this data feed off this mobile and everything?
I'll jump in. I'm sure everyone can speak to this, but it's going to give us the roadmap of where we are and then where we want to go, and really take that feedback and adjust as needed, and then put more efforts into certain areas that need it. Really excited though, because we have so many aspects that we can utilize to get that data and really drill down, just with everything being more mobile focused now and digital, really have that touch point with the guests and being able to really understand and have that finger on the pulse of what's going on. So really looking forward to using it and getting some real-time data so that we can pivot as needed.
Awesome.
Yeah, I would add to that, we're obviously a very data-driven organization, with the Seahawks and using the NFL's platform as well at Lumen Field. And, I really think that, and we've been measuring transaction times, we measure ingress times, we measure egress, all of those types of things. It's manual currently in the process. So we're trying to figure out a way, have not provided a solution yet, but how do we not make that manual where it's actually somebody taking a physical timing of that one? And so looking at different technologies to do that as well. And, because really focusing on, transaction times, because as we all know in this current situation, the pandemic, we want people to be in the seating bowl as much as possible, right? So they're not consuming food and beverage or congregating onto there. So getting that process down as quick as possible and figuring out, using different technology solutions to improve that is just so important to us, and just measuring, and not only that, but measuring the health and safety comfortableness that the actual guests have, right? So understanding that, and like all of our processes that we put into place with them, are we not only providing a safe environment, but providing them, our guests, just the sense that we have a safe environment for them. So that's also part of this data that we're going to be measuring and figuring out, if we're not meeting those metrics, what do we need to do to ensure we are? And not only that, but with our partnership with the state, public health and other King County officials, those are all very important pieces that we want to share with them as we get back to, as Philip said, the future, when the now, but what's the future, and then sharing those metrics with them are going to help us to get to more, hopefully, obviously the vaccines as well, but more and more guests in our venue into there. So those are some of the focuses that we're looking at.
That's amazing. I appreciate you bringing up health and safety, because I feel like most of our new technology upgrades started out as health and safety upgrades with UV technology and other things, and then it's digressed into different things and how can we improve the entire guest experience. So it's I know that's top of mind for everybody is health and safety. So I appreciate that, Zach. Evelyn, how's the venue ops playing in a part in this big data? And is there anything new at venue ops that can help us correlate this data or bring it all into the system?
Well, Venue Ops as a web-based platform continues to evolve, and there are, as we have continued to add in features to support live entertainment, there are specific areas in the program that can capture and be that central point of truth for the data and the KPIs that are being gained from these other platforms. And so it can be that repository of total information about an event. And it's also designed to seamlessly assist with reporting, dashboards, so that you can look at that information as it trends this year, as it trends next year compared to last year. So it's really a very comprehensive system that is taking the fullness of the event into consideration.
Awesome. Love it. I'm looking forward to using that when we get back to live events. That is for sure. All right, just two more questions for you guys. So with all these new upgrades, which do you think will stay after we get back to full operations like Texas, and which ones do you think will be the first to go? Anybody can jump in. Zach, you're on mute.
I was going to see if my other panelists wanted to jump in. I don't want to do all the talking. No, I mean, obviously, look, I think that the pedestal scanners, that's going to be one that's going to stay in. I think that there's going to be everybody, wants to use different mobile apps into there. So certainly mobile apps are going to be into there. One of the things that we as an organization, when we talk about mobile apps, is being cautious of how many different logins we're asking our ticket members to have or guests in the building. So it's trying to figure out, as Evelyn was talking about, integrating multiple technologies together, right? And that's going to be the key for the experience overall, because you don't want to put, things in place that that prohibit people or, give them more time where they have to focus on this, because we want them to focus on what our live events are in the building, whether it's a concert or a consumer show or, product that's being on the field or the court. And those are things that we want to focus on. So I think that one is certainly going to be a piece of it. I think some of it, food and beverage experience, I think may go back to normal at some point. I don't think the technology process will, but I do think the experience overall will, because I think that, right now looking at technologies, reduced menus and such and things like that, I think people are going to want to go back to some sort of normalcy, if you will, from a food and beverage experience, very similar to what you see at some of the restaurants that are expanding. And we heard that through some of our other NFL partners throughout the season, where they started small and then continued to expand. Because if you're talking about data, some of the reports that they were getting were people were expecting still more variety while focusing on quality. So those are some things, and technology plays a piece into that as we talk into that. So yeah, that's some of the things that we're going to continue to focus on, and I think we're going to be here to stay for the future.
Right. All right. No one else wants to touch on that one, so we'll move on to.
I could throw something out there,
Yeah.
Just as it was Zach referenced integrations, and that's something that we're really big on. We're not trying to be all things to all people, but the event life cycle starts in a program like ours. And so for it to handshake to ticketing, to POS systems, to finance, to, maintenance, whatever those other core business aspects are. We want to be, that seamless handshake to support the teams in the buildings and the challenges that they face.
Yeah, that's awesome. Realizing and opening the door to cooperation kind of follows into the next question. So perfect timing, Evelyn. Where you guys are always know what's going on. So where do you guys do your research? Where do you find out what's the next best thing? Who inspires you? Are you guys looking at other venues? What's going on? Tell me what's up.
Yeah, we definitely love to not reinvent the wheel. We love to see what other people are doing, and we use conferences like this all the time to reach out to other venues. And hey, I heard you had this similar problem with your ADA seating. What did you do to solve it? Things like that. And it's proven to be enormously helpful. We found BrainShark because of other venues using it. So yeah, reaching out to our peers is our number one source of information.
I was going to jump in and just say the relationships within the industry. That's a big one. And at the beginning of COVID, Kim Badir actually spearheaded putting together a group, a coalition together of all the major venues in the state of Washington. And that's where I eventually ended up meeting Zach and started to work with him hand in hand on some stuff. And obviously then everyone's talking within this coalition, and it's people, it's venues like the Seahawks, the Mariners, AEG, and Live Nation being together, Tacoma, the Tacoma Dome, and Spokane Arena, and then UW and WSU. We have everybody kind of together, just talking, brainstorming about how we can work together, how we're going to get out of this together. And in that comes these conversations of what everybody's doing to get in the right, put the steps in place to get to the right ending point of helping everybody out of this, because it is all or none. So that's been one of the neatest things I think out of this whole thing, is that brand new relationship being formed.
Yeah, I agree with you, Matt. I'm seeing that as well. And I've always valued the relationship of peer-to-peer through the NBA, and really honing in with all of our different teams throughout the league and talking best practices. But what this pandemic has caused is obviously to branch out into other venues, not necessarily sports venues, other leagues, and the cross collaboration has been amazing. And it's great because we spun this huge web and talked to so many people across the globe, because we were talking to people in England as well. But at the same time, we also reeled it in, and I was very impressed with how we came together in the Bay Area, kind of like what sounds like what you're talking about in your area. But the Giants, the A's, the Sharks, the Earthquakes, Stanford University, the Warriors, we meet once every 2 weeks and we talk shop. Sometimes we use it as a means to vent because of the ambiguity of everything. But at the same time, we're leaning on each other, and we're learning, because we have mostly the same clients, and we share quite a bit of the same part-time team members too. So it's really been valuable, and I look forward to continuing that as we get out of this.
Yeah, I'll add to that, because I completely agree with what Philip and Matt both said. We are always in competition with each other, right? We're always wanting to do a better experience than what your neighbor does or whatever it might be. That's just the nature of our business. We're working to find new clients and season ticket members or corporate partners or whatever that might be. But the collaboration has just been tremendous through this. And like what Philip said, it's important that we all have very similar experiences in certain regions or state. So then that way, that's what people come to expect. So it's, and really, just sharing everything, because before, you maybe share like 90% of it, but you got this 10% that you're going to kind of, keep in your pocket because it's a really cool experience. You're going to be able to do it. But, just throughout this entire thing across the leagues, and all the leagues coming together. I mean, it's just been great. Owners getting together and talking, and certain information come down, operators, and it's just been tremendous with everybody being able to, and meeting new colleagues and new technologies. Because I mean, if you look at May or June, there were so many different technologies being thrown out to all of us, right? Everybody had a solution for something. Some of those, were solutions that were needed. Some of those were not. And so it was important for us to talk to our peers and say, hey, what are you seeing out there? And, do you think it makes sense into there? And I also think the collaboration, talking about technologies, but going, as I mentioned before, the state, public health, and other local government officials, having these coalitions makes it even more powerful for us as venues to come back and say, this is not just a plan we put together. This is a plan that the entire coalition group put together, and it just adds some more depth to what we're doing from a planning process for the health and safety measures we're putting in the buildings.
Evelyn, anything from a vendor perspective? Where are you guys learning how to change the software? Or?
Well, we listen to our clients. In our 20-year history, our product has continued to evolve as we've heard from our clients what they need, what their business models are experiencing, how things are shifting and changing. And so we continue to listen, we continue to develop, because you guys are walking in the role. You're walking it out. And so we want to take direction from you in terms of what makes most sense for the things that you're trying to do. And from that standpoint, as Zach and everyone else has alluded to, partnerships, relationships, we want to partner with other best of breed products so that we're bringing the best technology and the best combination of resources to our client. But we consider your success to be our success. And our entire team looks at our client base and the industry, and we want to be, vital partners with the industry and with the venues that are out there.
All right. Yeah. It's so great to see all the collaboration going on between the different venues, different states, internationally, across leagues. And I think it's helping everybody across the organizations and also helping the staffs have that bit of outreach and connection. Is there anything that anyone would like to say that I may have missed, or anything at your buildings? No? Thank you all for being on this panel. We are extremely grateful to have each and every one of you at IAVM Region 4 virtual conference. In the new technology session, we're going to move over into Q&A.